Will the clerk please call the roll?
Senators Bridges, Buckner, Coleman, Cook, Coram,
Good morning.
Danielson, Donovan, Fields, Gardner, 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 Janal, Gonzalez, Hansen, Henriksen, Heisey, Holbert, Jaquez Lewis, Kirkmeyer, Kolker, Kolker, Lee, Liston, Lundin, Moreno, Pedersen, Priola, Rankin, Rodriguez, Scott,
Here.
Simpson, Smallwood, Sonnenberg, Story,
Here.
Winter, Woodward, Zenzinger, Zenzinger. Mr. President.
Here. The morning roll call is 35 present, 0 absent, 0 excused. We have a quorum. Will the good senator from Carbondale please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Thank you, Mr. President. Members and guests, please join together for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the journal. Senator Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the reading of the journal of Friday, April 1st, 2022 be dispensed with and the journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted. Senate Services.
Correctly engrossed Senate Bills 118, 127, 147, and 148. Correctly re-engrossed Senate Bill 114. Correctly revised House Bills 1016, 1018, 1072, 1108, 1118, 1156, 1162, 1208, 1214, 1231, and 1247. Correctly re-revised House Bills 1089, 1153, 1165, and 1286.
Introduction of bills.
House Bill 1329, Representatives McCluskey, Senator Hansen, concerning the provision for payment of the expenses of the executive, legislative, and judicial departments of the state of Colorado and of its agencies and institutions for and during the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022, except as otherwise noted.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1330, Representative McCluskey and Ransom, Senators Hansen and Rankin, concerning suspending the requirement for a 5-year appropriation for an act that causes a net increase in imprisonment.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1331, Representatives Harrod and Ranson, Senators Zenzinger and Rankin, concerning supplemental funding for facilities, schools, and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1332, Representatives McCluskey and Harrod, Senators Hansen and Rankin, concerning the Office of Economic Development and International Trade's permissible uses of money transferred from the Economic Recovery and Relief Cash Fund to the Colorado Economic Development Fund for use in rural Colorado.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1333, Representatives Harrod and McCluskey, Senators Zenzinger and Rankin, concerning an increase in the minimum wage for nursing facility employees and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1334, Representative Harrod, Senator Zenzinger, concerning the collection of an administrative fee from an agency that receives commodities through a food distribution program.
Also appropriations.
House Bill 1335, Representative McCluskey and Ransom, Senators Hansen and Rankin, concerning a transfer from the Revenue Loss Restoration Cash Fund to the Judicial Department Information Technology Cash Fund.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1336, Representative McCluskey and Ransom, Senators Hansen and Zenzinger, concerning the streamlining of the processing of certain money collected by the Judicial Department.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1337, Representatives Harrod and Ransom, Senators Hansen and Rankin, concerning a requirement that the State Personnel Director quadrennially produce a report on compensation and in connection therewith modifying requirements for the compensation report, including reporting deadlines and making an appropriation.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1338, Representative Harrod, Senator Hansen, concerning modification of the manner in which specified motor vehicle-related functions of the Department of Revenue are funded and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1339, Representatives Harrod and McCluskey, Senators Zenzinger and Rankin, concerning the Colorado Drives Vehicle Services Account of the Highway Users Tax Fund and in connection therewith merging the Licensing Services Cash Fund into the account and requiring account investment earnings to be credited to the account.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1340, Representatives Harrod and McCluskey, Senators Hansen and Zenzinger, concerning capital-related transfer of money.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1341, Representatives Harrod and McCluskey, Senators Zenzinger and Rankin, concerning measures to ensure that the marijuana tax cash fund is in balance.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1342, Representatives Harrod and Ransom, Senators Hansen and Rankin, concerning the requirement that interest and income derived from the deposit and investment of federal funds that the state received from the Federal Coronavirus State Fiscal Recovery Fund be credited to the State Emergency Reserve Cash Fund.
Appropriations.
House Bill 1343, Representatives McCluskey and Ransom, Senators Hansen and Rankin, concerning state revenue retained and spent under the authority conferred by the voter-approved revenue change referendum C.
Appropriations. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege by the senator from Denver.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will proceed out of order for a moment of personal privilege. Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you. Members, today I have a group of men in the back right, to my back right, corner of our chambers. They are the men of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Members, incorporated in recognition of Alpha Day at the Colorado State Capitol in remembrance of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. On April 4th, this day, 1968, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. was killed by a sniper in Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. King was an icon and a Baptist minister who led the civil rights movement in the United States from the mid-1950s until his death. Dr. King's efforts, nonviolent tactics, and leadership led to the Montgomery bus boycott and the founding of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which helped end legal segregation of African Americans in the South and other parts of the United States. Dr. King's leadership led to the massive March on Washington and the passing of the Voting Rights Act in 1965. And since his death, the legacy, the message, and contributions of Dr. King have not only been recognized in America, but worldwide. So much so that a federal holiday recognizes him, as well as monuments, streets, murals, and stamps that bear his name and images. Educational scholarships are given in his name towards higher education throughout the country. Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity members operate under the guiding principles of scholarship, fellowship, good character, and the uplifting of humanity, and proudly recognize and support the legacy of their fraternity brother, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Members, I just ask that you all join me in recognizing Dr. King's fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha.
Senator Fields, welcome back.
Good morning, Mr. President and colleagues. I'm still standing. I love it. Mr. President, I would like to request a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. You guys may be seated. I'm here to acknowledge the brothers that are in the House. It's not too often that we see this many black men in the state Senate chambers. And I'm here to just welcome you, along with my colleague also representing Aurora, because we know what you stand for. We know that you stand for justice, we know that you stand for fairness, and we know that you stand for equality. And when I look at the list of all of the other men that are members of Alpha Phi Alpha, of course I have to mention Dr. Martin Luther King. He was a member, y'all. Thurgood Marshall, he was a member. Duke Ellington was a member. The founder of the NAACP, W.E.B. Du Bois, was a member. And if you look at the list of their membership, it goes on and on and on as it relates to black men who have taken ownership to lead on so many different levels. So I'm here just to say welcome to the State Senate.
Senator Buckner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm asking for a moment of personal privilege as well.
Granted.
I want to welcome our brothers today into the Senate. Everything you have done in the community is noted. Yes. We love the fact that you are so active in Aurora and Denver, helping young people realize what their expectations should be and are. So I'm not going to say much more, but as Alpha Kappa Alpha sisters welcoming another black organization to the Capitol, we are so proud of you and all of the work you do. So thank you for being here today.
Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, as a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, I would ask, Mr. President, if we could take a brief moment to acknowledge our guests.
The Senate will stand in a brief recess to greet our guests. The Senate will come back to order.
I don't want to piss him off. Anybody can do it.
Third reading of bills. Consent calendar. Will the clerk please read the titles to all the bills on the consent calendar?
House Bill 1108, Representatives Rich and Amabile, Senator Scott, concerning a requirement that the Transparency Online project web-based system include the name of the vendor paid in connection with each expenditure included in the system. House Bill 1156, Representatives Kennedy and Williams, Senators Bridges and Gardner, concerning modification of reporting requirements affecting the disclosure of information of individuals seeking elected public office and in connection therewith changing the campaign finance reporting deadline and clarifying a personal financial disclosure requirement. House Bill 1018, Representative Kennedy, Senators Winder and Hendrickson, concerning a state-regulated utilities practices regarding customers' ability to pay the customer's utility bill. House Bill 1118, Representative Doherty, Senator Kolker, concerning limitations on purchasers' claims for sales and use tax refunds. House Bill 1231, Representatives Van Beber and Valdez D., Senators Heisey and Fields, concerning a bill of rights for foster parents. House Bill 1016, Representatives Carver and McLaughlin, Senators Heisey and Fields, concerning a voluntary contribution designation benefiting the Feeding Colorado Fund that appears on the state individual income tax return forms and in connection therewith making an appropriation. House Bill 1072, Representatives Will and Roberts, Senators Donovan and Simpson, concerning the Habitat Partnership Program. House Bill 1208, Representatives Weissman and Keene, Senator Lee, concerning changes to jail data collection requirements and in connection therewith making an appropriation. Senate Bill 118, Senators Woodward and Henriksen, Representatives Holtorf and Valdez D., concerning the encouragement of the use of geothermal energy by providing similar treatment to solar energy and in connection therewith making an appropriation. Senate Bill 127, Senators Kirkmeyer and Zenzinger, Representatives Larson and McCluskey, concerning funding for special education services and in connection therewith making an appropriation. Senate Bill 147, Senators Kolker and Sonnenberg, Representative Young and Pelton, concerning behavioral health care integration services for children and connection therewith making an appropriation. Senate Bill 148, Senators Donovan and Simpson, Representative McLaughlin and Catlin, concerning the creation of a grant program to provide a grant to a Colorado land-based tribe in support of infrastructure improvements to tribal behavioral health facilities that serve indigenous individuals and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Minority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move all of the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar, including House Bills 1108, 1157, 1018, 1118, 1231, 1016, 1072, 1208, and Senate Bills 118, 127, 147, and 148.
Is there any discussion on any of the bills? Oh, see none. The motion is the passage of all the bills on the third reading of bills consent calendar. Are there any no votes? Senator Smallwood.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1018 and House Bill 1118.
Senator Smallwood will be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1018 and House Bill 1118. Senator Sonnenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask to be a no vote on House Bill 1018 as well as House Bill 1118.
Senator Sonnenberg will be recorded as a no vote on House Bills 1018 and 1118. Senator Liston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would like to be recorded as a no vote on House Bill 1018, 1118, and 1156.
Senator Liston will be recorded as a no vote on House Bills 1018, 1118, and 1156. Senator Lundin.
Good morning, Mr. President. I request that I be recorded. I have a problem with the 18s today, I guess. 1018, 1118, and 118.
Senator Lundin will be recorded as a no vote on House Bills 1018, 1118, and Senate Bill 118.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator Kirkmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to record as a no vote on 1018 and 1118.
Senator Kirkmeyer will be recorded as a no vote on House Bills 1018 and 1118. Senator Woodward.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too wish to be recorded as a no vote on 1018 and 1118.
Senator Woodward will be recorded as a no vote on House Bills 1018 and 1118. Minority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. President. Request to be recorded as a no vote on House Bills 1018, 1118, and Senate Bill 118.
The Minority Leader will be recorded as a no vote on House Bills 1018, 1118, and Senate Bill 118. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1108 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senator Sonnenberg, Minority Leader Holbert. Woodward, Smallwood, Cook, Kirkmeyer, Heisey, Lundin. With a vote of 34 ayes, 1 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1156 is passed. Co-sponsors. With a vote of 28 ayes, 7 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1018 is passed. Co-sponsors. Majority Leader Moreno. Senators Gonzalez, Lee, Jaquez Lewis, Buckner, Pedersen, Zenzinger, Bridges, Danielson, Story. With a vote of 28 ayes, 7 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1118 is passed. Co-sponsors. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1231 is passed. Co-sponsors. Majority Leader Moreno. Senators Hansen, Gonzalez, Fields, Kolker, Janal, Buckner, Pedersen, Winter, Lee, Zenzinger, Story, Danielson, Minority Leader Holbert, Liston, Sonnenberg, Woodward, Rankin, Priola, Smallwood, Kirkmeyer. Please add the President. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1016 is passed. Co-sponsors. Majority Leader Moreno. Senators Gonzalez, Winter, Lee, Woodward, Priola, Jaquez Lewis, Rankin, Kolker, Hansen, Janal, Pedersen, Buckner, Story, Zenzinger. Senator Buckner, I got you. Please add the President. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1072 is passed. Co-sponsors. Minority Leader Holbert. Senators Gonzalez, Winter, Buckner, Lee, Kolker, Pedersen, Cook, Jaquez Lewis, Liston, Heisey, Sonnenberg, Rankin, Priola, Smallwood, Woodward, Janal, Majority Leader Moreno, Story, Lundin. Please add the president. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1208 is passed. Co-sponsors: Majority Leader Moreno, Senators Gonzalez, Rankin, Hansen, with a vote of 33 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 118 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Heisey, Rankin, Priola, Smallwood, Kolker, Cook, Pedersen, Buckner, Lee, Story. Majority Leader Moreno. Please add the president. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 127 is passed. Co-sponsors: Senators Henriksen, Majority Leader Moreno, Buckner, Lee, Story, Winter, Pedersen, Danielson, Fields, Kolker, Bridges, Hansen, Janal, Gardner, Cook, Liston, Sonnenberg, Woodward, Priola, Smallwood, Rankin, Coram, Donovan. Please add the president. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 147 is passed. Co-sponsors: Majority Leader Moreno, Buckner, Pedersen, Gonzalez, Fields, Janal, Winter, Story, Jaquez Lewis, Gardner, Heisey, Kirkmeyer, Priola, Smallwood, Henriksen, Zenzinger. Please add the president. Lundin. There was a... Will the clerk please remove Lundin? Just kidding. With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 148 is passed. Co-sponsors: Majority Leader Moreno, Senators Henriksen, Janal, Winter, Pedersen, Hansen, Kolker, Gonzalez, Buckner, Zenzinger, Lee, Story, Fields, Heisey, Sonnenberg, Rankin, Smallwood, Priola, Coram. Please add the president. Third reading of bills. Final passage. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1214?
House Bill 1214, Representatives Young and Pelkin, Senators Kolker and Priola, concerning changes to the Behavioral Health Crisis Response System.
Senator Kolker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for for the passage of House Bill 1214 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of House Bill 1214 on third reading and final passage. Are there any no votes? Senators Lundin, Minority Leader Holbert, Smallwood, Woodward, Rankin, Kirkmeyer, Cook, Liston, Scott, Quorum. Sonnenberg. With a vote of 24 ayes, 11 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1214 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Simpson, Janal, Lee, Winter, Pedersen, Story, Buckner, Danielson, Gonzalez, Bridges, Majority Leader Moreno, Zenzinger. Please add the president. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1247?
House Bill 1247, Representatives Harrod and McCluskey, Senators Hansen and Rankin, concerning requirements for additional supplemental payments for nursing facility providers and in connection therewith, making an appropriation.
Senator Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1247 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the passage of House Bill 1247. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1247 is passed. Co-sponsors. Senators Zenzinger, Janal, Lee, Buckner, Fields, Pedersen, Cook, Smallwood, Priola, Woodward, Kirkmeyer, Liston, Story, will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1162?
House Bill 1162, Representatives Exum and Van Winkle, Senators Zenzinger and Heisey, concerning authorization to use digital number plates in lieu of metal number plates on a vehicle.
Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move House Bill 1162 on third reading and final passage.
Is there any discussion? Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple of things. I was thinking over the weekend, what's the purpose of license plates? And the purpose really is to register the vehicle and so that it can be identifiable by law enforcement and other transportation mechanisms. So that's basically it. That's the whole purpose of license plates. So all this does is it allows digital license plates in lieu of regular stamped license plates. And that's it. It sets up the rules and regulations in order for this option to be available in Colorado. It's an option that is already available in 6 other states. They are coming, they are here, and I feel as if Colorado needs to adopt a regulatory framework to ensure that they happen in a good way that will not infringe upon the ability of law enforcement. And that is the bill that you have before you, and we encourage an aye vote.
The motion is the passage of House Bill 1162. Are there any no votes? Senators Priola, Bridges, Gonzalez, Donovan, Majority Leader Moreno. With a vote of 30 ayes, 5 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1162 is passed. Co-sponsors. Consideration of governor's appointments. Consent calendar. Will the clerk please read all the appointments listed on the consent calendar?
Members of the Colorado Prescription Drug Affordability Review Board for a term expiring September 27, 2022. James Justin Vandenberg, Form D, BCPS of Denver, Colorado, appointed for a term expiring September 27, 2023. Catherine Harshbarger of Holyoke, Colorado, appointed for terms expiring September 27, 2024. Gail Meisner, MD, FACP, AHIVS of Snowmass Village, Colorado, to serve as board chair, appointed. Sammy Diab, MD of Greenwood Village, Colorado, appointed.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the confirmation of all the appointments listed on the consent calendar, which includes members of the Colorado Prescription Drug Affordability Review Board.
Is there any discussion? The motion is the confirmation of all the appointments on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, all of the appointments are confirmed. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate take up a special orders consent calendar, which consists of tomorrow's printed consent calendar, including House Bills 1224, House Bill 1270, House Bill 1237, Senate Bill 162, House Bill 1255, and House Bill 1139 at the hour of 10:48 a.m.
The motion is that the Senate take up House Bills 1224, 1270, 1237, Senate Bill 162, and House Bills 1255 and 1139 on special orders consent at the hour of 10:48 a.m. This requires a 2/3 majority. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. That motion is adopted. The Senate will take up the previously mentioned bills on special orders consent at the hour of 10:48 a.m. Special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Henriksen will take the chair.
Everybody have them? We good to go? Good to go? The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title of all the bills on the special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
House Bill 1224, Representatives Tipper and Soper, Senator Gonzalez, concerning theft of public benefits. House Bill 1270, Representative Woodward, Senator Priola, concerning measures related to changing name-based criminal history record check to name-based judicial record check in the Colorado Revised Statutes. House Bill 1237, Representative Robertson Will, Senators Rankin and Donovan, concerning county court judges in western Colorado. Senate Bill 162, Senators Zenzinger and Kirkmeyer, Representatives Woodrow and Lynch, concerning the modernization of the terminology used in the Colorado Revised Statutes relating to the organization of Colorado state governmental agencies without altering the status of the powers assigned to those agencies pursuant to the Administrative Organization Act. House Bill 1255, Representatives Ortiz and Bradfield, Senators Zenzinger and Kirkmeyer, concerning measures to improve post-secondary education outcomes for students with a disability. House Bill 1139, Representative Geithner and Hooten, Senators Bridges and Heisey, concerning prohibiting a unit owners association of a common interest community from regulating the use of a public right-of-way.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for the passage of all the bills listed on the second reading special orders second reading consent calendar, which includes House Bills 1224, House Bill 1270, House Bill 1237, Senate Bill 162 and the associated State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee report, House Bill 1255, and House Bill 1139 and the associated Transportation and Energy Committee report.
Is there any discussion on any of the committee reports? Senator Lundin. The motion before the body is the adoption of all committee reports on special orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee reports are adopted. Is there any discussion on any of the bills on the consent calendar? Senator Lundin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise to speak to House Bill 1139. This is one of those bills that you sometimes get constituent response on. Specifically, I'm going to read from an email that I received from a constituent who is a board member and therefore opposes 1139. The bill is opposed because it, in the opinion of this correspondent, will negatively impact community associations. He's a board member of a association in the north end of Colorado Springs, the south end of my district, which is about 400 homes. And the board is run by volunteers, of course, as you know, all HOAs are, who enforce the HOA covenants and provide community esprit de corps, my words, not his, neighborly events and connection in the community. This particular bill, in the perspective of this individual, which I tend to agree with, will cripple the ability of the board to do its job and would probably cause eventual deterioration in the neighborhood. So they're asking for opposition to this bill, 1139, and I add my voice to that opposition. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on the special order second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bills are adopted. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion is for the committee to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. The committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 162 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bills 1224, 1270, 1237, 1255, and 1139 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the report.
Motion is the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 162 is amended, passed on second reading, and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bills 1224, 1270, 1237, 1255, 1139 is amended, passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate take up a special orders calendar consisting of the following bills on tomorrow's general orders second reading of bills calendar. Colleagues, you can find these on page 3 of your printed calendar. Senate Bill 167, House Bill 1043, Senate Bill 2, and Senate Bill 120 at the hour of 10:55 a.m.
The motion is that the Senate take up Senate Bill 167, House Bill 1043, Senate Bill 2, and Senate Bill 120 on special orders at the hour of 10:55 a.m. This requires a 2/3 majority. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. That motion is adopted. The Senate will take up Senate Bill 167, House Bill 1043, Senate Bill 2, and Senate Bill 120 on special orders at the hour of 10:55 a.m. Special order, second reading of bill. Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of special orders, second reading of bills.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted and the Senate will resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the consideration of the special order, second reading of bills, and Senator Henriksen will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 167?
Senate Bill 167, Senator Janal, Representative Duran, concerning removing the exemption for greyhound breeders from the Pet Animal Care and Facilities Act.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 167 does not have any committee reports, so I'm going right to Senate Bill 167. I move Senate Bill 167. And I will tell you about 167. Greyhound breeders are not regulated by PACFA, and that's the Pet Animal Care Facilities Act. And that regulates dog breeders to protect health and the well-being of pets across the state of Colorado. But there was an exemption in PACFA for any kennel that's operated for the breeding or sale of greyhounds that are not intended for companion purposes or as pets. And this bill, 167, repeals the exemption in PACFA for greyhound racing breeders, and it requires that they be held to the same ethical welfare standards as other breeders in the state. And the reason why greyhounds were not under PACFA rules and regulations was because they were under the Racing Commission. And so under the Racing Division, and the Racing Division banned greyhound racing in 2014. In fact, there are only a handful of greyhound racing facilities within the United States. So the exemption for greyhound breeders should be removed from PACFA. The greyhound breeders should be held to the same animal welfare standards as all other dog breeders. Members, this is a bill of equality. It's a bill of inclusion. The greyhounds want to be in PACFA as much as any other dog breeders or dog that is on AKC registered animal. But this has been supported by PACFA. It has had no opposition by PACFA Rescues, the Division of Racing, and breeders were also contacted, and there was no opposition there. So I ask for your support on this inclusionary bill and protect the Colorado Greyhounds and support Senate Bill 167.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 167. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title to House Bill 1043?
House Bill 1043, Representative Pico, Senator Heisey, concerning motor vehicles that operate on the roadway with fewer than 4 wheels in contact with the roadway and in connection therewith, making an appropriation.
Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move House Bill 1043 on second reading.
Is there any discussion on House Bill 1040? To the committee report.
Oh, I move the committee report.
Is there any discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of the Transportation and Energy Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. To the bill. Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Basically, what this bill does is it separates in statute the difference between a motorcycle and those three-wheeled, not quite cars, not quite anything else that that you see running about, where the driver sits in a seat, has a steering wheel, roll cage over the top of him or her, and in making that, both sides, by the way, the motorcycle folks and the three-wheel folks, both think this is a fine idea to be in a separate category, partly for statistical reasons, but also the operators of the three-wheeled vehicle will no longer need a motorcycle license.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And you may not see my name on this bill yet. I have asked Senator Heisey if I could co-prime this bill because I ride a motorcycle, and we want to have this clarity that about motorcycles and autocycles, and the fact that they are different. One you have to straddle to ride, one you sit in a seat, and you know, you have helmets for both, or you should. You don't have to on motorcycles, but basically, one of the biggest points is that it differentiates accidents and offenses that are done by autocycles and by motorcycles. So you get better and more clarity to the data of these accidents and who's causing what. So I'm in full support of House Bill 1043.
There is an amendment on the desk. Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move L003.
Will the clerk please read Amendment L003?
Amendment L003.
Senator Heisey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Department of Revenue, upon further inspection, found a couple of places in statute where they would like to add the definition of autocycles or add autocycles in the list to help the DMV folks as they're licensing these vehicles. There was some debate as to whether that was necessary, but there was consensus that it did no harm. The other thing they asked to change was to move the effective date from July 1 to, actually they asked for a full year out. There was no sympathy among the sponsors to move it to July 1 based on the fact that they had 56 hours of programming to do, and we thought they had plenty of time to do it. They very politely explained that their world does not revolve around this single bill. And so we compromised and came up with the January 1, 2023 date. Would ask for your aye vote on L003.
Seeing no further discussion on Amendment L003, the motion is the adoption of Amendment L003. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. To the bill. Senator Heisey.
Urge and I vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion is the adoption of House Bill 1043. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted. Will the clerk please read the bill or read the title to Senate Bill 2?
Senate Bill 2, Senators Janal and Starry, Representative Cutter and Will, concerning increasing the resources available for fire protection services provided by volunteer and seasonal firefighters.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I move Senate Bill 002 and the local government report, committee report, as well as the appropriations report.
To the local government committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This was a stakeholder, we've had stakeholder meetings on this since it came out of the Wildfire Matters Review Committee. The local government committee report basically came to the conclusion that all funds are going to be through the Division of Prevention and Control to pay for the costs of equipment used in fire suppression activities in response to the fires, and also including the costs of disposing and of replacing damaged or obsolete equipment. Another part of the bill also has to deal with the distribution of protective equipment to governing bodies and volunteer fire departments to directly pay for training designed to increase firefighter safety and prevent occupational-related diseases for governing bodies and volunteer fire departments. Also, the division has to submit an annual report on expenditures from the local Firefighter Safety and Disease Prevention Fund to the Wildfire Matters Review Committee. And there is another part where a benefits program for firefighter, especially volunteer firefighters and seasonal firefighters, for behavioral health support. As we know, in the last 5 years, there's been an increase in the number of issues in regards to behavioral health and addiction, and it's dedicated to the number of specific needs that we found. So this is a bill, obviously 002, very important bill that helps all of our firefighters, and I ask for an aye vote on the local government committee report.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of the local government committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report. Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I move Amendment L004. And again, with a lot of stakeholder meetings in regards to this report, L004 puts all funds through the Division of Prevention Control and Public Safety. It allows for the Division of Prevention Control to use money from the Firefighter Safety and Disease Prevention Fund to reimburse a multiple employer. And the trust is set up to provide behavioral health care services to firefighters. In the first year, the behavioral health reimbursement must not exceed $1 million. In subsequent years, this advisory board that's been set up can make changes to that $1 million that has been allotted. It also authorizes a grant program to use the money in the fund to directly purchase and distribute protective equipment and pay for training for local firefighting agencies without or with requiring a grant program. And it authorizes the establishment of a multiple employer behavioral health trust that is similar to the cancer and cardiac trusts that currently are in existence for firefighters under this amendment. Amendment L004 was a product of a lot of work prior to going to appropriations. It has some similarities that are in the local government committee report, but it was the distribution of the money and also where it would go. And so I ask for an aye vote on Amendment L004.
The discussion is on the Appropriations Committee report. Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Senator Story.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we also move J002, which incorporates some of those elements of L004, especially the $5 million general fund to continuously be appropriated cash fund in the Department of Public Safety.
Is there any further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee report is adopted. To the bill. Senator Story.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We move Senate Bill 2 as amended, and hang on one second. Lost my place. This bill is critically important to our volunteer firefighters in particular, and the local governments who also are a part to the response to many of our large fires. Currently, volunteer firefighters are not compensated for time, equipment, or hazards while they are in the midst of their lives being threatened in fighting these fires. They are often given old equipment that is not replaced or disposed of when it breaks down. They face higher levels of depression and PTSD than career firefighters and are not given any form, any form of compensation. There's been a severe lack of volunteer firefighters in numbers due to this lack of incentives. And according to the U.S. Fire Administration in 2021, 45.8% of Colorado fire departments are solely volunteer. About 29% of Colorado fire departments are mostly volunteer, and literally across the state, 80% of our firefighters are volunteer firefighters. There is an ongoing shortage of volunteer firefighters across Colorado, making response times much longer. And the mountains and foothill terrains make adequate response times difficult on its own, but a lack of manpower, woman power, compounds the issue into a much bigger issue. So this bill is working to adjust some of those issues and provide opportunities for more equipment to be available for volunteer firefighters, as well as mental and behavioral health supports for them as well. In 2021, we saw 9 wildfires that burned over 1,000 acres. Oh, that's not right. Over, that number is way wrong. My apologies. I'll look that up. And caused significant structural damage and casualties. The Cameron Peak Fire, reported on August 13th of 2020, burned 208, almost 209,000 acres. And the Oil Springs Fire in Rio Blanco, reported June 18th of 21, burned 12,613 acres. There is so much work that's done out there by our volunteer fire departments that show up on a regular basis to fight these fires, and we need to take some action to support them in their work.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, and I think that my co-prime sponsor covered a whole lot of what 002 will do, and just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that this is a bill that came out of the Wildfire Matters Interim Committee. I think it will help firefighters throughout this state to get the equipment that they need and the training that they need, because volunteer firefighters don't usually have the money to pay for that training, and they, as was said, they do get hand-me-down equipment. But this bill will provide for not only getting the equipment that they need, the up-to-date equipment that they need at $4 million per year for 10 years, but also the mental health help that they need, which they don't get either, at right now set at $1 million for the first year. If we find that that needs to go up or down depending upon the use, then that will be adjusted each year. The bill requires that there's a grant program to give priority in awarding grants to local agencies that have lost tax revenues as a result of decreased assessment after wildland fires, primarily on volunteers, or that demonstrate the greatest need to ensure safety of volunteer and seasonal firefighters. This is an extremely important bill for all of us throughout this state and in protecting our firefighters. And I ask for your aye vote on Senate Bill 002.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted. Will the clerk please read the title to Senate Bill 120?
Senate Bill 120, Senator Janal and Quorum, Representative Sullivan, concerning the regulation of carbon processors.
Senator Quorum? Senator, you're on mute.
Okay, what bill are we on?
Senate Bill 120.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Senate Bill 120 is a bill that I worked with Senator Janal on. Frankly, when this started, I didn't know what Kratom was. I knew nothing about it, knew none of the benefits of it or the concerns of it. And with the tremendous stakeholder meetings put together, it was probably one of the most informative things that I've been through, and very honored to carry this bill with the good senator.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the good senator from Montrose for your comments. And I'd like to move Senate Bill 120 and the Finance Committee report, as well as the Appropriations Committee report.
To the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Finance Committee report made a number of extensive changes and had a lot of extensive stakeholder meetings with public health officials, CML, with CCI, with Children's Hospital, to get this to a point where everybody could come to an agreement on the regulation of Kratom. And what those amendments was the authority for local governments to regulate Kratom. And its amendment clarifies that there is no state preemption on local government authority to regulate Kratom products or Kratom extracts. Another part of another amendment was to restrict sales to 21 and over. When the bill first came out, it was for 18, and we changed that to 21 and over. Removing the definition of Kratom as food. It is not a food product, but it is a product. To me, it's biological or a botanical product, a botanical extract or a product. And what it does is it clarifies that Kratom products and extracts have additives or solvents added to the product, that the additives or solvents must be safe for human consumption, as well as clarifying that the labels for Kratom products should include a total suggested serving size. Another amendment registered processors and therefore created a list for the public with aggregated market data, which the processors make that list publicly available, and that Kratom processors must report their annual sales to the department, and it allows the department to publish only aggregate market data on Kratom sales in Colorado. Another one was adding criteria to the department's rulemaking authority, again, in the Department of Revenue, the requirements as well as for child-resistant packaging for Kratom products and developing rules for the retail sale of Kratom products. There is another amendment made modifying the definitions of processor and adding retailer. This was established in other states, and we felt it necessary to do it here. There are different definitions and requirements for processor as well as retailer to help streamline the regulatory mix. Also, delaying this implementation for fees that pay the regulatory cost for processors for testing. The implementation date we moved back from January 1st to 2023 to July 1st, 2023. It also allows the Department of Revenue to charge fees that reflect the direct costs incurred by the department. Also clarifies that the lab testing required by a Kratom processor to register a product must be conducted and that at the processor's own expense. And I do have, no, I don't do that yet. Okay. I ask for an aye vote on the Finance Committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the Finance Committee report? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of the Finance Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report, Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Appropriations Committee report made an appropriation They made an appropriation of $241,000, and it also asked for 2.5 FTEs. I ask for an aye vote on the Appropriations Committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. There is an amendment on the desk. Will the clerk please read Amendment L015?
Amendment L015, Senator Janal, amend the Appropriations Committee report dated April 1st, 2022, page 1, line 16, strike N, page 1 after line 16, insert B, any fines collected pursuant to section 1415-104, and...
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L015, and what L015 does is it clarifies the fines that are assessed under the bill by the Department of Revenue, and those fines go to the cash fund. I ask for an aye vote. This was an amendment from the JBC committee.
Is there any further discussion? The motion is the adoption of Amendment L015. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment is adopted. To the bill, Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm not sure if my co-prime would like to talk to the bill or not.
Senator Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's great to watch the benefits of Kratom. I am told by a secret source that our good senator got on it, got mellow, got intelligent, and did a great job of presenting, and just ask for an aye vote.
Is there, Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to kind of explain this bill, because I see a lot of people saying, Kratom, what's Kratom? Never heard of Kratom. Well, there's a lot of Kratom out there, and the number of people who are using Kratom is growing. I know that it's common in my area in Fort Collins, and I've seen it in other areas of this state. In other areas, it's not so common, but Kratom is a plant. It's a tree in the coffee family, and its leaves are used for brewing or taken in capsule form. They're pre-packaged drinks, and they help to. What they do is they have an alkaloid in them, a chemical in them that binds to the receptors that opioids would bind to. So people who have had opioid addiction find that Kratom helps in reducing their opioid addiction. In a lot of cases, just taking away that addiction. It gives a little bit of a high, a little bit of a energy boost, but it's also an anti-anxiety and mood balancing type of product. And it's also been used, we've heard from people in the committee, on managing acute and chronic pain. Right now, in the state of Colorado, there is no state regulatory structure to protect consumers in this state. As I'd mentioned, some municipal and county governments have implemented regulatory oversight, but the state has yet to do so. So what this bill seeks to do is to strictly regulate the product and make sure that there's testing standards, that we're limiting the products to adult use, and to create penalties for violation of purity standards and for proper retail requirements. And it's a bill that we don't want to find fentanyl laced. We don't want to find it laced with fentanyl. We don't want to find it laced with other types of products. And so regulating this product is extremely important to protect lives of our young people, and also the lives of folks that, so it doesn't get in the wrong hands and it doesn't get adulterated. I ask for your aye vote.
Minority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was one of those sitting over here asking, what's Kratom? I looked online, and it appears to be a plant that grows in places unlike Colorado. Southeast Asia, I think, is one place. And my friend from Fort Collins mentioned it is similar to or a part of the coffee family. And I know that coffee can grow in cooler, more damp climates, but I don't think coffee grows here. So the first question I have, it seems in reviewing the bill that it focuses on those who would process kratom. So the questions I have is, does it grow here? I don't think it does, but does it? And if not, how does it get here? And how many people actually process kratom here in Colorado? Is it, I guess that's where I start. Where does it come from, and how many people actually process kratom here in Colorado?
Senator Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that's a great question because without this has been totally unregulated. And so I think that's the importance of this legislation, that we actually know where it's coming from, who's bringing it in. Is it adulterated? I think is very important to know that. So I think that's very much the reasoning for this bill that the minority leader asked. This is the reasoning for that bill. It is a Southeast Asia product. I don't think there are probably many people in the U.S. that knew much about it prior to the Vietnam War.
Senator Janal, then Minority Leader Holbert. Oh, go ahead, Minority Leader Holbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the insight from my friend from Montrose. So would this bill have effect if the kratom is processed outside of Colorado and then brought to Colorado in some post-processed form? It seems, maybe I'm not understanding the bill, but it seems like it focuses on people or entities who process the product and turn it into pills or a liquid or something. I'm totally unfamiliar with it. But does this bill focus strictly on the processing of kratom? And if so, wouldn't that allow it to be processed somewhere else and then brought into Colorado? Or am I missing something?
Senator Janal, then Senator Lindy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When we talk about a kratom processor, those processors are buying that product from Malaysia or wherever they're importing it from. And so those are the people who get that pure product and want to make sure it's pure to begin with. And then sometimes processors are also retailers, so they also sell it. But and you ask a number, I mean, how many people are actually processors? I would say right now I would guesstimate at maybe a dozen, maybe more than that. The people we had come to testify, many of them were from the Colorado Springs area, so there is a difference. You can be a processor, you can be a retailer at the same time, but you are wanting to make sure through lab testing that that product is pure, that it doesn't have mold, that it doesn't have other types of contaminants in it, that it doesn't have other drugs like fentanyl or heroin mixed in with it. So you're going to be testing that and pay for that laboratory testing. Also, I think you asked about the number of retailers. There are retailers throughout. If you look at if you drive down a strip mall, sometimes you'll see CBD and kratom, and they're there in neon lights, not big ones, but little ones. But they are there. You can also get them in gas stations and other places like that. So the issue is we need to make sure that 21 and over, we regulate that. But we also, the biggest thing is to regulate the fact that the processors are getting pure product and they're distributing them to the retailers as a pure product and not laced with anything else. And right now, they're not regulated. And I would hate to see something happen to someone unsuspecting that may get something, because we're unregulated right now, may not get a pure product. And these products have been proven to work, and a couple 100,000 people now are taking this product here in the state of Colorado, and I think it's growing. I know we have one legislator here from Colorado Springs who is a connoisseur of sorts of kratom, and I'm not sure if he's coming up to tell us of his experiences, but I hope that addresses your question somewhat, but we need to regulate this product. So we need to keep people safe.
Senator Lundin.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I am neither a connoisseur nor a consumer of products, should anyone confuse me, although I am a senator from El Paso County. I would associate myself with some of the questions raised by the senior senator from Douglas County, and I have some interest in those elements. The primary arguments I've heard in the beginning elements of this debate over this product are it can be cut with fentanyl, and therefore it's a challenge. I think the reality is if fentanyl is what we're concerned about, we should be addressing fentanyl. And the reason I bring that up is this particular bill calls for 6 additional FTE in order to begin this process of managing this particular product. I'm looking at a list here of approximately 1,000 other botanicals, all of which could be used in the same capacity, same form potentially, or some similar sort of thing as kratom. And therefore, they also potentially should be regulated, managed, taken care of in the way that this bill seeks to take care of them. That would result, based on the 6 FTE fiscal note that this bill carries with it, of another 6,000 potentially additional state employees to get at this. So I'm really driving at the fiscal note associated with this. Within existing FTE, within existing budget, I would have interest in this bill. As drafted, as assigned an extensive and expensive fiscal note, I would be opposed to this bill. So I get the effort, the desire, but I'm afraid that we're starting down a pathway where if it costs us 6 FTE and $1 million every time we want to see what's going on with something that potentially could be cut with fentanyl, that it's going to be an extremely expensive proposition trying to manage for that core issue, which is what I perceive this bill is seeking to do. So I rise in opposition, or at least serious question of the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Quorum.
Thank you. I frankly, I think that was a bit of a far reach, my personal opinion. But my question is, what is the value of one life? What is the value? So, is it spending money? Yes, we're spending money, but we're spending $38 billion. And sometimes we overlook the fact that we need to spend money to save lives. And so that would be my response to the good senator from Monument.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is the adoption of Senate Bill 120. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bill is adopted. Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
The motion before the committee is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come to order. Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Will the clerk please read the report?
Mr. President, your committee of the whole begs leave to report it has had under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof, and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 167, Senate Bill 2 as amended, Senate Bill 120 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1043 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage.
Senator Henriksen.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the report.
The motion is the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bills 167, 2 as amended, 120 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1043 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Signing of bills.
The President has signed House Bill 1022, 1032, 1037, 1038, 1040, 1044, 1046, 1211, 1229, and 1250.
Announcements. Senator Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, today is Colorado Beverage Day. The Colorado Beverage Association is here to highlight the industry and the economic impact on Colorado. They've provided a six-pack in the Senate Majority and Minority Caucus offices on a large table for each of us with 6 products from Colorado Beverage members: Swire Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, and Keurig Dr. Pepper. While all these brands are household names, did you know that they have a significant presence here in Colorado? Colorado's non-alcoholic beverage industry provides over 3,500 good-paying jobs in the state in 2021. Colorado beverage companies have facilities around the entire state, from the Eastern Plains to the Front Range to the Western Slope. Facilities are located in Denver, Inglewood, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Greeley, Grand Junction, Craig, Hayden, Johnstown, Brush, La Junta, Alamosa, Durango, Montrose, Newcastle, and Glenwood Springs. The beverage industry is not only committed to providing their employees a great place to build a career, but focus on their commitment to our environment. America's leading beverage companies are working together to reduce the industry's plastic footprint. Through their Every Bottle Back initiative, they're committed to using less new plastic and investing in new efforts to get their bottles back so we can remake them into new ones. For more information, you can scan the QR code on the side of your six-pack. Again, everyone, please head over to the Senate Majority and Minority Caucus office to pick up and enjoy your six-packs. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just be sure to recycle whatever bottles you use after you partake in those good mixer beverages. Members of the Senate Finance Committee, heads up, we are meeting today at 1:30 as opposed to Wednesday when we traditionally meet. We will be meeting at 1:30 in the old Supreme Court. We will be hearing 3 bills: Senate Bill 166, 1213, and 1055. See y'all then.
Senator Janal.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Health and Human Services Committee will meet at 1:30. We are hearing 1 appointment to the member of the Colorado Prescription Drug Affordability Review Board. We will also be hearing House Bill 1264, Senate Bill 156, and Senate Bill 154. See you then.
Majority Leader Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate recess until 1 p.m. today. Colleagues, you do not need to return. We're just reading bills across the desk.
You have heard the motion. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the Senate will recess until 1 p.m. today.